What's going on, everyone? So yesterday, the Lakers took on the Golden State Warriors in the first preseason game of the season, which it was just so nice to see Lakers basketball. Obviously, it didn't go the way we had hoped. It would have been nice to go out and get that win, but again, it's preseason. It's not so much about the wins and losses. It's about what does the team look like, who are the real standouts, what are the things that we can build upon that were good, and what are the things that we need to work on. And one of the guys that I was really excited and pumped to see was Cam Reddish. And gotta say, I was really disappointed. But, again, it's not that's it, he's done, stick a fork in it, it's over for him. He's completely out of the rotation. But I expected a little better of a performance. Offensively, he was awful. 0 of 4 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3, even 1 of 2 from the free throw line. But defensively, he was fantastic. Had a block, had a steal, was rotating great, closing out strong. You saw his size, his length, his quickness, his abilities really kind of impact on the defensive side. And there's a lot more to the game of basketball than just offense. We all kind of get caught up in the offensive things. But what else can he do besides that? Right? It's something that I've talked about even last year, right? Look at a guy like a Malik Beasley. He's a very specific type of player where it's like, if he's not shooting lights out, he's kind of unplayable out there, right? And that's what you look for, right? Like with D'Lo, right? I know a lot of people are super low on D'Lo, and although he was fantastic in yesterday's game, but I know a lot of people still kind of hold the Denver series to him, even though it wasn't solely his fault. But regardless, like a guy like him, when he's not scoring the basketball, he can still go make plays, right? He can still get other guys set. Okay, like my shot's not falling. Let me go get 12 assists. Let me go get 8 assists. Things like what can guys do besides score the basketball? Cam Reddish, he's a guy that showed, okay, my shot isn't falling. You got to imagine that his shot, it will come around at some point, or just him scoring the basketball, period. And he'll go and be able to, even on the bad nights, defend at a high level. And that's the way he's going to be able to stay on the court. That's going to be the way that he's going to be able to stick within the rotation. Problem is that we are just so stacked at kind of positions of his level, right? Bunch of 6'8" guys on this roster. It was for him to play that shooting guard position. It was kind of this battle between him and Max Christie. As of right now, Max Christie is just, steps ahead. Max Christie showed the same level of flashes defensively, but offensively looked like a legit 3-level scorer. Now, that doesn't mean Cam Reddish can't get rotation minutes, can't get things going. He is still very versatile. But again, I was expecting a better show out. Not saying that I needed him to go and shoot the lights out, or I needed him to go out there and be the best player on the court or anything like that. But I wanted to see him at least show the tools that could translate well for the Lakers. Again, defensively he did that, but he was so sloppy, just looked uncomfortable with the basketball, having fits against smaller guys, just being careless, and it just, he was credited for 2 turnovers, but if you watch that game, there was several times where he just lost the ball or the ball got hit away that should have led to 5 or 6 turnovers, but a couple times they got bailed out. Somebody else on the Lakers would pick the ball up, whatever the case may be. And it's just, I look at this Lakers team and I look at this Lakers roster, and I want him to be one of those big bright spots. I want to see him, I don't expect him to play 40 minutes a game or anything like that, but I want to see him get some minutes and some involvement in the rotation and actually have a level of impact for the Lakers going forward this season. Sucks that he ended up getting that ankle injury, so I have my concerns that he's going to get the opportunity in preseason to kind of redeem himself and show, like, that was just an outlier game. It was, rust, hadn't played all season. He gained 12 pounds, so he's got to kind of get back comfortable with his body and just the reps and getting his feet under him, stuff like that. And it's like, where we could be looking forward to the next game, it's very likely that he doesn't play the next game. And if he misses 2-3 games of the preseason. Now the preseason is pretty much over, unless he has some like ridiculous standout game towards the end, which very likely that's not going to happen, because usually the last preseason game or two are like the dress rehearsal games, right? You're trying to get your starters at least the first half, whatever, and trying to work on the things to get ready for that first game of the season. And if Cam Reddish, the last memory that, you know, the coaching staff and the organization has when they're trying to piece everything together and get this rotation kind of sewed out for the upcoming season, it's like, well, the last thing we saw from Cam Reddish was just an abysmal game on the offensive side. A guy that just didn't look comfortable out there, looked lost at times, just looked like he wasn't ready to play some basketball. And look, Cam Reddish is an absolute basketball player. He is a hooper without a doubt. We have seen plenty of seasons where he's had some real quality production. But the problem is that, again, this isn't a roster where, like, if this was last season's roster, I think even with this abysmal performance, he'd still get some playing time, just because, you know, it was just LeBron, Rui, and Jared Vanderbilt post-trade deadline, right? Where this roster, it's like LeBron, Rui, Christian Wood, you know, Taurean Prince, who he looked rough too, but he's a veteran. I kind of trust him more to round things out. And he's going to be playing a very specific role, which is just basically spot up 3 and D. And I think he'll have a lot of help once LeBron and Austin Reeves are in the game, so they'll kind of be able to get him going. But Cam Reddish, he's a guy that, you know, he's not a great three-point shooter, but his one sort of advantage that he has on the basketball court is his ability to just go get buckets, right? He's a guy that you could just give him the ball, and he could be like a Lonnie Walker-esque player, just bigger, right? 6'8", 7'2" wingspan, get to the basket, use his athleticism, his size, his ability to finish through contact, operate, knock down the mid-range, right? Like, those are the things that are his tools and advantages that would give him a spot in the rotation. Because it's like, okay, you have Jared Vanderbilt, who's 3 and D, but he's not going to give you that much offensively. He looked great shooting the 3 ball, but that's pretty much the gist of his offense, right? Corner, 3-point shooter, knock it down. You know, you get the occasion, backdoor, you know, be a lob threat from time to time, but for the most part, it's just going to be him in the corner jacking up threes. Same thing with Taurean Prince. I think Taurean Prince will be a lot of just like, hey, he'll be in the corner, spot up 3-point shooter, top of the key, whatever, and, you know, look for him to kind of knock it down and defend some of the other players on the other team. And then Rui Hachimura is that guy that he'll get more of an offensive, because he just has more of an offensive weaponry. And same thing with like a Christian Wood, stuff like that. Well, Cam Reddish could have been that guy that came in and kind of got a similar role. Not so much a 3 and D spot up guy, because that's not his game, but a guy that could just go get buckets when you need him to, right? Like, you know, like I said, a Lonnie Walker. Lonnie Walker's his ability to just, you know, go and get and be a bit of a vacuum scorer. Cam Reddish could have been that for the Lakers this year. I mean, he still can be. I just think, and have the concerns of like, again, you showed up terribly, looked as about as unprepared as possible. You then got hurt, which is not to his doing. You know, you can't account for injuries, but that's also been a thing with him. He's struggled with injuries the last few years and staying on the basketball court. And then, you know, the last game that you played, because he's probably going to miss a game or two. I mean, maybe not. Hopefully it's nothing major, nothing like it's something very minor, and he can get back out there, but it's also preseason, so do you want to even run the risk, right? As a defensive guy, that, like, you know, we need a stop or something like that and throw some size out there. I don't have any problem with that for Cam Reddish, but it's just, he's a guy that I've been extremely high on. I just think that he's needed the opportunity, and it kind of feels like he's getting the opportunity and he has the potential to squander it. And I really don't want to see that, because I do believe he's a guy that can have an impact this season and for seasons to come. Like, I hope, like, I'm not willing to write him off yet. Like, that's not what I'm trying to get across here, right? There's still a lot of promise. We saw a lot of nice things. We saw that quickness that athleticism, that strength, that ability. We saw a lot of the things that we were hopeful to see, but it's just, he just, again, kind of looked lost out there. He looked like he just wasn't prepared. Like he just joined the team yesterday, right? Or something like that. It just looked, it wasn't a good look for him. But look, guys have bad games, guys have bad moments, guys have, bad stretches. It's about, keeping your head down, getting through it, and, brushing it off and showing up for the next one. It's just, you had him perform the way he performed, and then Max Christie looked like he's the real deal. Like, Max Christie looked like, oh no, this is a guy that, you could even start if you needed to in a pinch, and he could come and make a big impact and go get you 15 points on any given night and knock down the 3 ball and be a legit 3-level scorer and also defend, the best player on the other team. And like Max Christie showed you everything good that Cam Reddish showed you, but also showed you the full package. Cam Reddish showed you half of the package, if that, right? And it's just, he didn't look comfortable on the dribble, which is weird because that's kind of his game, right? He gets the ball, he just kind of crosses dudes up, takes him off the dribble, beats him off with the first step, like things like that. It's just, those are the things that is Cam Reddish and his game, and it's like those were the things that he looked most uncomfortable with. It was just strange. It was strange. But again, I was disappointed, but again, I'm hoping that he turns it around. That it was just a bad game, bad moment. It'll be okay. He'll be better. I don't expect him to go 0 for 4 from the field again or anything. I do love the defensive end, right? That's something he could definitely hang his hat on. Now, if he can just put the offense together, then you could be looking at a legit two-way guy for the Lakers this year with good size, good strength, good athleticism. I like the idea. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? What were your thoughts on Cam Reddish? Were you disappointed? Were you like, nah, hey, it happens. He'll bounce back. I do have the concerns with the ankle injury that he's not going to be able to show and end up falling out of the rotation. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it.